Hello, welcome to Module 6 of our condensed section of EDU 612 or 702. So this week is pretty exciting because you will be now putting all of your planning, your unit planning, your social studies planning, your technology planning, your planning for your case study student, you'll be putting all of that planning into action in the classroom. So you'll be teaching, if you haven't already begun teaching, your lessons to your actual students. So you'll be delivering the 10 lessons in your unit or units and really taking time to pause and reflect after each one and during so that you can adjust your practice based on student feedback. So it's extremely important to formatively assess your students' progress and understanding throughout your instructional units. Waiting till a summative assessment to figure out that students haven't mastered a critical concept is far too late. So it's important to be constantly monitoring students, getting a feel for their understanding, using proper questioning techniques to fully grasp the extent of their understanding so that you can adjust along the way. Make your adjustments based on data. So have data-driven decisions to those adjustments. So this week, like I said, you're going to be teaching those units and reflecting on your effectiveness after each one and throughout the whole process. So you might consider as you go throughout this process saving pieces of student work, samples of finished products, any data that you have that guides that adaptation process and informs your instruction. You can take photos of that work or scan it and upload it in your final unit. So keep important artifacts so that you can add them to each lesson as appropriate to show that data. You'll also, one of your units, as you know, will be a web quest or web-based inquiry activity. So you may want artifacts from that as well that you can include. You'll be submitting your entire completed unit with reflections in week 8 that will need all of these pieces listed here. After you teach each lesson, you'll take some time to pause and reflect on the lesson's effectiveness. Please do that within 24 hours of finishing your lesson when it's fresh in your mind and you have that data at the ready. You'll want to consider these questions at the end of each lesson, and there is a template at the bottom of each lesson, the lesson plan template, the form. So first, to what extent were your students productively engaged? You can think about your case study student or your student population as a whole. How do you know that they were engaged throughout your lesson? Also, did the students learn what you intended for them to learn? Were the objectives of your instructional methods and goals met? And what data do you have to support that understanding and to show that learning? Also, how did the technological resources that you embedded in your lessons affect your students' ability to meet your objectives? Did they impede it, or did they help students meet those learning targets? In what way were you able to adapt your instructional plan throughout your lesson based on that student data I spoke about? And why did you do that? So was there any instructional planning that you had done originally that you ended up altering as a result of student data? Also, how did the resources and strategies that you did choose affect your students' ability to meet the lesson objectives? Is there anything you would adjust or change in the future? And the final one is just that. If you could redo this lesson, do it over again, what might you do differently and why? So this is a really important reflective component of teaching, and it's to help you get into the practice of monitoring student feedback, monitoring their learning throughout the unit, and not waiting until that summative process to evaluate their learning. The next thing you'll be doing is spending some time completing your readings for this module, particularly if you're watching a video about theory and practice in the classroom with a teacher video evaluation, which is a very interesting upcoming topic. And also you'll be exploring the constructivist approach again, but this time in particular to the NETS technology standards. In particular, this week, I'd like you to look at Chapter 4, Promoting and Modeling Digital Citizenship and Responsibility, and Chapter 5, which is Engaging in Professional Growth and Leadership. After you finish your reading, I'd like you to come back here to our course shell and make a discussion post in our ISTE for Teachers Standards discussion forum, and as usual, respond to your colleagues. In this discussion forum, you'll be creating a post based on one of these 4 topics. So read through the 4 topics and choose one to respond to in your post. You can visit a professional society website that's associated to either your department, your field, or your age range, and discuss in your post what kinds of learning opportunities that society, that website might offer to you. Or you could find an informal learning opportunity that might help enhance your teaching practice in the area of social studies. Or you might find a distance education opportunity that might enhance your practice. Or finally, find a wiki or a blog that could be used to help increase your teacher effectiveness and improve student outcomes. Describe how you might use that resource in your practice in regard to social studies. So choose one of these 4 prompts and add a discussion topic and interact with your colleagues this week. All right, I hope you have a great time teaching your lessons, and as usual, reach out to me if you have any questions or concerns.